Welcome to the Switch Style Podcast, where we encourage you to think beyond what you hear. I'm your host, Smooth, and audience, welcome back to episode 56 of the Switch Style Podcast. Again, I'm your host, and I go by the name of Smooth. And before we jump into anything, I just want to let you guys know that you can find the podcast on iTunes. You can find it on Google Play, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And also, go check me out at jacksjournal.com. That's JACS journal.com, where you can find all of my written reviews and the podcast. But again, as I said earlier, audience, welcome back to episode 56, and I'll give you a quick rundown before we jump into everything. On this episode, I'm actually going to give you my take on Trey Songz' latest album. It's titled Tremaine, the Album. And also, I'll update the charts for you, and when I say charts, I mean the Billboard charts. And last but not least, I'll actually let you know what's coming out this Friday, April 28th. There's actually a lot of albums, but I specifically pinpointed 4 albums that I think a wide variety of audiences might be interested in. So, again, I'll update the charts for you, let you know what's coming out this Friday, April 28th, and I'll give you my take on Trey Songz' latest album titled Tremaine, the Album. So, audience, here we go. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Congratulations, Kendrick Lamar. Kung Fu Kenny, he earns his 3rd consecutive #1 album as Damn debuts atop the Billboard 200, earning 603,000 units, 353,000 in traditional album sales. And audience, if you don't keep up with the podcast, I actually reviewed Kendrick Lamar's album last week along with a good friend of mine named D. Will. So you can check out episode 55 if you want to learn more about Kendrick Lamar's latest album. So as of now, Damn holds the title for most albums earned during a single week in 2017. He actually surpassed Drake and Ed Sheeran's first week totals this week. So congrats to Kendrick. And also to note, Kendrick Lamar, he became only the 3rd artist to earn at least one #1 album in the last 3 years, and that's 2015, 16, and 17. And if you want to know, Future and Drake are the only other 2 artists who have accomplished that feat. And according to reports, these are early reports that I've read that's coming out. So Kendrick Lamar is expected to earn a 2nd week at #1 with Damn. And I'll actually have more on Damn later on in the segment, so stay tuned. But also on the Billboard 200, John Mayer, he takes the runner-up slot as The Search for Everything debuts at #2, earning 132,000 units. 120,000 of those were traditional album sales. And last but not least, The Fate of the Furious soundtrack lands at #10, earning 37,000 units, 16,000 in traditional album sales. So let's actually jump to the Hot 100. So on that chart, Kendrick Lamar's Humble moves to the penthouse in its 3rd week on the chart. So, audience, if you don't remember, you can go back a couple shows. But when Humble came out, it debuted at #2. It fell to #3 last week. And with the album coming out itself, it actually catapulted Humble to #1. So, again, congrats to Kendrick. I mean, he's doing Coachella. He has the #1 album, the #1 song in the country. And it's, quite frankly, it's probably the best album I've heard since his last album, To Pimp a Butterfly. So congrats to Kendrick again, and I know I'm congratulating Kendrick a lot, but it's well deserved. But also in the top 10, more Kendrick news. The Compton MC, he lands DNA, which is another track from his latest album, at #4. And audience, DNA is actually produced by Mike Will Made It as well. Mike Will Made It produced Humble and DNA, and he also co-produced XXX, which features U2 on the album as well. And audience, just a quick side note, I was reading something today, and the Humble beat was actually meant for Gucci Mane. And audience, if you don't know, I just mentioned Mike Will Made It, and Mike Will Made It and Gucci Mane, they have their association, or their history goes back quite a bit. And Gucci Mane was really one of I think the first artist to give Mike Will a chance. But that's just something interesting, just something you can tell your friends. But if you missed it, Humble, the #1 song of the country, was actually meant for Gucci Mane, the beat itself. So that's just something that you can take with you. But also in the top 10, Zedd and Alicia Carr, they enter at number 7 with Stay, and Luis Fonsi, Daddy Yankee, and Justin Bieber shoot to number 8 with Despacito. So all you Latin music fans, you guys have a song in the top 10, and I'm a fan of Latin music myself, and it's always great to see Luis Fonsi, Daddy Yankee. Well, Justin Bieber, he's been in the top 10 many times, but this is a big win for Latin music, and I'm proud of Luis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee. So congrats to all of them, and Zedd and Alessia Cara as well. And more news on the Hot 100. All 14 of the tracks on Kendrick Lamar's Damn entered the Hot 100 this week. 5 tracks from the album landed in the top 20, including Loyalty, which features Rihanna. That's one of my favorites on the album. That sits at number 14. Element landed at number 16. And Love, featuring Zakari, hit number 18. And the 2 tracks that I mentioned earlier, those are the other 2 tracks in the top 20, Humble and DNA, which are both inside the top 5 of the Hot 100. And also, audience, I do want to let you know that Damn also earned a total of 388.5 million streams in its first week. And if you missed that, Damn earned 388.5 million streams in its first week. So congrats, Kendrick. Kendrick had an amazing week, starting with the release of the album on Good Friday to his headlining performance at Coachella, leading to this week with the number 1 debut. Well, not the number 1 debut, but the number 1 hit, Humble, hitting number 1, and him earning 603,000 units, the most in any week by any artist this year. So congrats, Kendrick. I'm proud of him. Like I said, audience, it's my favorite album this year, and actually the favorite one of the last 2 years. Go check that out on episode 55. You can check out the review. But if you have any questions or concerns, you can email me at switchstylepodcast@gmail.com. Also, go on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, Google Play Music. If you can write a review for us, we definitely appreciate it. And that's actually a wrap on the charts. So we'll actually move on to what's new. So this Friday, April 28th, 2017, look out for new albums from Mary J. Blige, the queen of hip-hop soul. She's back with her latest album, Strength of a Woman. I'm really excited to talk about this one. I'm sure Mary J. Blige has a lot of great music in store. And audience, if you haven't been keeping up, Mary J. Blige, she's experiencing a lot of marital trouble, and she's currently going through a divorce from her longtime husband, Kendu Isaacs. So I'm kind of interested to see how that turns out. But back to what's new. Gorillaz, the virtual hip-hop electronic indie group, they returned with their 5th album, Humans. Country legend Willie Nelson, he's back with God's Problem Child. And super trombonist Troy Trombone Shorty Andrews, he returns with his latest album, Parking Lot Symphony. And for all of you out there, I don't know if I've ever said this on any podcast before, but I actually played trombone in high school myself. Hopefully someday I can actually pick it up again. I definitely do want to take lessons again and actually get back into it. But if you're not familiar with the Trombone Shorty, he's an amazing artist. And he also plays trumpet as well. So, but back to what's new. Check out the new albums from Mary J. Blige, Strength of a Woman, Gorillaz, Humans, Willie Nelson, who's back with God's Problem Child, and last but not least, Troy Trombone Shorty Andrews is back with Parking Lot Symphony, and all of those albums will be out this Friday, April 28th. And I'm not sure about the format, but some might be available in Best Buy, Target, wherever you can find a physical CD, but they all should be available on Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, the majority of the streaming services. So go check them out. Go support the artists. The artists definitely need the support. Audience, please do what you can to support them. I'm not saying go out and buy every album, but the ones that you can buy, at least your favorite artists, the artists that you claim to be your favorite, at least go out and check out their album or purchase their album. But that's it for what's new. So I'll go ahead and jump to the review of Trey Songz' latest album. But before I do that, if you've heard any of my takes or reviews before, I always like to give you guys a quick rundown or a quick bio on the artist just in case you're unfamiliar with them and just to sort of bring you up to speed. So here we go. Tremaine Neverson was born November 28, 1984 in Petersburg, Virginia. After signing with Atlantic Records, and audience quick note, he's actually still signed to Atlantic Records. After signing with Atlantic Records, he released his debut album, I Gotta Make It, in 2005. Since 2007, he has released 6 more studio albums, including Ready, Passion, Pain, and Pleasure, and Trigger. His biggest hits include Can't Help But Wait, I Invented Sex, Say I, Bottoms Up, and Heart Attack. As of now, Trey does have a minimum of 3.5 million in RIAA certified US album sales. And audience, the RIAA stands for Recording Industry Association of America. And Trey, I'm sure Trey has more album sales than that. Keep in mind that I said minimum. Those were actually the ones that I could account for on the website. So again, I'll let you know again, Trey does have a minimum of 3.5 million in RIAA certified US album sales, and that does not include what he's done worldwide. So I just try to stick to the facts. But back to the quick bio. Trey's latest album, which we're going to talk about in a second, it debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200, earning 67,000 units, 45,000 in traditional album sales. And audience, forgive me, all you Trey Songz fans out there, the album actually came out March 24th, 2017, this year. Today, I'm recording, today is April 26th. So the album has been out an entire month. So all you Trey Songz fans, I apologize. Wish I could have gotten to it sooner, but some other albums took priority. But also back to Trey. He's also collected 3 Grammy nominations and had roles in a few movies, including Baggage Claim and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D. So I'll go ahead and give you my take on Trey Songz' latest album. Prior to releasing his 7th studio album, Trey Songz, R&B's resident playboy, teased a reality television show based around a concept similar to other music stars. And the stars that I'm talking about are Flavor Flav, Bret Michaels, and Ray J. All of those shows were on VH1. As it turns out, the reality show, dubbed Tremaine the Playboy, was actually a ploy designed to promote his latest effort, Tremaine the Album. And audience, if you're interested, all you Trey Angels out there, you can actually find, I think he only has maybe 5 or 6 videos up right now, but you can find those on his website, TreySongs.com, and probably YouTube as well. Considering his 12-year tenure in the music industry, Trey's strategy was well worthwhile. It certainly grabbed the attention of his core audience and sparked interest among casual fans. The music itself is an extension of Trey's previous work. He continues to peddle the ladies' man image and expectedly fails to convince himself to give it up. The opening prelude is business as usual. Trey promotes his bedroom prowess in a way that seems like he's selling it, bragging, "I do some things you won't believe." Number one fan is probably what every devoted member of Trey's Angels wants to hear. He teams with his Heart Attack producer Rico Love for an imaginary rendezvous with the fan. Surprisingly, the always self-assured lady killer is nervous and doesn't want to ruin her expectations. Nobody else but you is the star of the bunch. Alec Isaac provides the playfully bouncy score while Trey claims to want the only true girl. He acknowledges her impatience with his selfish ways but takes her concerns lightly. Playboy's tender 90s R&B at his best. Trigger Trey questions his pleasure-seeking ways, referring to them as adventures, child's play, and the game. He also admits feeling pressure from his mother, who wants another grandchild. The Sheet Still is among the best late-night jams in his catalog. It's good enough to make even R. Kelly, who was his early muse, envious. One by One borrows from Crystal Waters' Gypsy Woman, She's Homeless. Sadly, its impact is lessened by the popularity of The Source and the many others who've sampled it before. Trey reaffirms his commitment to an unsure Bone the Gasping, What Are We Here For? And fellow Virginia native Mike Angel assists on the back and forth games we played. By and large, Trey presents nothing new on Tremaine the Album. He remains the sexually charged playboy capable of wooing virtually any woman hearing the sound of his voice. Trey is capable of doing much more, but is comfortable with who and what he's become. But honestly, there's nothing wrong with it. While many of his peers have gravitated towards a more hip-hop flavored R&B, Trey Songz has remained one of the genre's most consistent baby-making crooners. Throughout the album, he reveals that his true intent is to eventually settle down. It'll be interesting to see what happens when he finally does. So there you go, audience. That's actually my take on Trey Songz' latest album, his 7th studio album titled Tremaine the Album. I'm a big fan of Trey, honestly, myself. And out of all 7 of his studio albums, this is probably one of my least favorite. Just being honest, this is one of my least favorite, but there are a few songs on here that I do like, most notably Nobody Else But You, Playboy, and The Sheet Steel. There are 3 really good tracks that I like on here, and I think that the entire audience will enjoy. But like I said, Trey really doesn't introduce anything new. He's that same Trey. And as I said, there's nothing wrong with it, so I can't be mad at him. But I think if you're a fan of Trey Songz, I think you'll definitely love it. So go out and pick it up. Go out and support Trey. I would recommend this album to his fans. If you're just a casual fan, I would say this is probably one you could skip. But if you're a fan of Trey Songz, definitely pick it up. But if you don't get the album, actually go get a few singles. Like I said, Nobody Else But You, Playboy, and The Sheet Steel. Those are my 3 favorite songs on the album. So if you don't go by the album, go get that. But like I said, if you're a fan of Trey, definitely pick up the album. But if you're a casual fan, you can pass this one. That's actually a wrap. I actually gave it 3 out of 5 stars. But if you have any questions or concerns, like I said earlier, you can email me at switchedoutpodcast@gmail.com. And also, if you're listening on iTunes, go write a review. If you're listening on Google Play Music, do the same. On YouTube, do the same. And on SoundCloud, do the same. For those of you listening out there, I sincerely appreciate you listening. And I always say it, you could be doing anything else right now. You could be reading a book, listening to another podcast, watching a movie, dealing with your kids. Whatever you have to do, you could be doing it. But you're sitting here listening to me right now, and I really appreciate it. And I just hope and pray that you do continue to listen. But, if you want to get in contact with me, you can follow me at Jack's Journal on Twitter. Go check out my website. It's jacksjournal.com, JACSjournal.com. My written review will be up, and you can also find all 56 episodes of the podcast at jacksjournal.com, iTunes, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, and YouTube. But thanks again, audience. I had fun, and I'll see you next time. Peace.